Young Aussies can't get ahead. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from Yahoo Finance. 2020 could be a make or break year for Gen Y and Z, and here is why. Well, let's have a look. It's going to be tough for young people to get ahead, particularly considering youth unemployment is going to be pretty high, and the government is doing everything they can with their schemes to try and credit people to getting jobs. And I know some people, if you're older, you think it's unfair. You've got to understand, if $100 is going to stop you getting a job, $100 a week getting a job, you need to reskill. Sorry, guys. That's the reality. Okay, $100 for a business isn't that big an incentive. It's probably enough to hopefully give someone a shot and get a foot in the door. That's what they're hoping. What they want to do is they want to stop economic scarring. That's the reason. If a young person doesn't get a job and remains unemployed for the next 40 years, in some ways that's sadly a lot worse than someone who's in their 40s or 50s who can't get back in the market and only has 10 years without work. That's the harsh reality right there, everyone. This is coming from someone who's hitting my 40s. Okay? So aside from my personality of putting everything up online, I think it would be harder for me to find work the older I get. I think my personality probably has more to do with it. I don't think I can handle office politics. But that's just the reality of it, everyone. We need to face it and deal with it. So the older you get, I think you need to find opportunities to create your own work, or skills that are so valuable that they can overcome the slight financial advantage some of these businesses are being given. So let's have a look at this article, everyone. So, if you're under 35 of age and feel like you can't get ahead, you're not alone. Hundreds of thousands of younger Australians are grappling with once-in-a-generation challenges right now, and it's causing pain. I want to shine a spotlight on these problems in this column, but I also want to look at whether or not there's light at the end of the tunnel for Gen Y and Gen Z. And before we go any further, this is written by David Taylor, the contributing editor at Yahoo Finance. I'm going to have a shot of coffee as we keep going. This column's for everyone, because the problem facing Gen Y and Z ultimately spill over into other generations too. So the jobless crisis. Youth unemployment rate increased 1% to 15.6% in October. It now increased by 3% over the year to October 2020. 15% youth unemployment, everyone. Yes, more younger Australians are finding work, but a heck of a lot are being rejected too. Check out the data set from the Bureau of Statistics. Full-time employment increased by 97,000 and part-time employment increased by 81,800. Over the year to October 2020, full-time employment decreased by 186,000 and part-time employment increased by 54,000. So more people are being shifted to part-time. That's probably just, how many businesses are shifting full-timers to part-time due to JobKeeper? The part-time share of employment over the past 12 months increased 0.8 percentage points to 32.3%. Now, there are going to be some people that have never done a full week of work in their life. Just think about that, guys. Particularly the older ones out there that have known nothing but full-time work since jumping out of high school. There's talk of an economic recovery, really. And as Victoria opens up, businesses and consumer confidence has been given a boost. It's seen more hiring, but overall bosses remain uncommitted to handing out secure, ongoing positions for younger Australians, as you can see by the data. Well, can you blame them? We still have things propping up the economy. We've got JobKeeper. You've got a job seeker bonus. You've got mortgage holidays. You've got banks guaranteeing not to repossess houses till September. You have, what is the other one? Trading while insolvent. Sure. Perfect time to be taking on staff. I can understand why you wouldn't. It's concerning. You don't want to hire someone and then have to let them go straight away. Although that's what you have to do in business. If someone doesn't fit the culture, you need to get them out now. Quick. They can cause damage. We learned that the hard way. We had one person on And his management style was quite jovially teasing of other people, and that really damaged the culture. We had to get rid of him. Of course, we had to pay redundancy. So, it's seeing more hiring, but overall bosses remain uncommitted. Yep, I've read that already. Of course, students and those in their early 20s don't necessarily need full-time work, but there's still a big chunk of Aussies that do, and have been left empty-handed. I fear part-time gig-style work is becoming normalized, and that's just plain wrong. Well, could this be an outdated idea now? That a full-time job is, because gig-style work, okay, it has some advantages. It gives you flexibility. It gives you freedom. It means that you're not locked down to one area. Is the idea of a full-time job at one company forever an outmoded idea? What do you think? I'm sure there are a lot of people that like their gig time work and the opportunities. And then you're seeing governments step in and regulate it. Look at what's happened to all the gig workers and writers and journalists over in California that have all been screwed over. And the taxi companies lobbying the unions to destroy Uber over there. Sometimes people like the flexibility and the control over their own time more than the security of working a full-time job. Because what does that give you? Potentially, your sick pay is held by them. You can't earn any interest off that. Your holiday pay is earned by them, held by them. You can't earn any interest off that. All these things to give you security. And what, you get a month? A month notice, and maybe some redundancy if you've been there forever, and some long service leave. I can see, sure, it's attractive to some, but to others, I can appreciate how it isn't. That flexibility is pretty good. Having the ability to control your own time and dictate when you work, isn't that the dream for some people? More important than just piles of cash? So maybe there's a shifting culture here. We'll have to see. And I need a shot of coffee. I think I definitely caught a cold when I went to the beach, guys. So, the job maker therapy. The government's actually acknowledged that younger Australians are at a competitive disadvantage to older Australians when it comes to finding work. What do you think about that one, guys? That's why the job maker hiring credit scheme was devised. It incentivizes employers to take on new hires aged 35 years and under by offering a weekly cashback rebate on every new hire until October next year. Now, for those of you in business, would that actually make a difference to your hiring? If you're hiring someone and 60, 70 grand a year, 80 grand a year, or probably 50 to 40, say, for a starter job, is that $100 a week going to make a difference? Should it? Are you going to hire someone who's 35 for 100 a week, bonus, or someone who's 37 who's better? Many people have hit back at the scheme, arguing it's blatant age discrimination. The fact is, it is. Yes, it is. It is. Well, aren't we becoming a country now that's allowing discrimination? Look at Qantas. However, the Fair Work Act allows for this sort of discrimination because job seekers under 35 are considered to be enough of a disadvantage to warrant extra help. See, this is the mess where we have what is it? Positive discrimination, and you see it happening with all marginalized groups. It's where if you can get your group in a victim status, you can use that as political leverage to get free things and free bonuses. Because remember, we're not in a capitalist economy here. We're in a regulated economy. We're in a crony capitalist economy. So the groups that have the most political power, there you go. And we're starting to see that manifest around the world now. It's time for more sensible people to do the march through the institutions. For people who appreciate liberty and freedom. Rather than people who are constantly advocates of racism based on low expectations and a perpetual victim mentality. We need to flush them out of the institutions and the bureaucracy. It'll take time, everyone. I've spoken to job seekers over the age of 35, though, and who have a family to support, who say they're being passed over at every job offer for a younger person and it's causing a lot of stress. Well, okay, this is the thing. guys. If you're over 35 and I'm over 35, if I'm not worth that extra $100 a week, something's wrong. That's it. Okay? It means you've hit 35 and you haven't gotten skills that are valuable. Maybe get a ticket, maybe get something else. And I know it's going to be hard, everyone, but this is a recession. And this is what happens when the government intervenes in the market. Okay? That's it. You can't be happy for other interventions that may have helped you in your life and then be complaining when they come and change the rules again later. That's the problem that we have. We've now gotten used to the government, throwing money in. How many of those over 35s have gotten all these home housing grants or these other things? I don't know. What are solar panels? How many of them gotten free solar panels? There you go. That's a handout. Meanwhile, Labor argues younger Australians already in work will get fired and replaced by job maker eligible workers. Oh, well, I'm sure that'll happen. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity. I think people would already have taken advantage of this to get rid of the deadwood. But you wouldn't want to. Well, you know what? Maybe you fire. Can you fire someone and then hire them right back? Industrial Relations Minister Christian Porter says the law protects against all these problems. See, this is the problem. But still, there's going to be people that try it. I bet you can't. So getting ahead. So let's assume you're under 35 and you've landed a job thanks to the job maker hiring credit. Now you've got to get busy saving for a deposit to buy a home. I mean, that's the default. That's given. And we all want a home, But is it worth it sometimes? How can you do that with many term deposit rates under 1%? Oh, well, you can. What am I getting? I've just shifted over to ING, and this is hashtag not sponsored. I'm getting 1.35, but that's only a cap to 100 grand. Then you got to put the rest in another account. I think Rabobank gives you a 1.75 for 4 months. So, it's nothing. At least it's beating inflation. At least it's beating inflation. One thing that's good, if you're worried about bank bail-ins, if you spread it all around, you're going to get shitty shares in all these different banks, guys. There you go. I mean, come on. Oh, well. But they're right. I mean, I think as a kid, I remember reading about the pyramid building scheme, like insane interest rates that people were getting. Last week, for example, the ANZ cut its 9-month term deposit rate to 0.15% with a $25,000 deposit. That's the lowest term deposit rate ever recorded in Australia. Let's be honest, the money being stashed away in this term deposit will most definitely help to grow a deposit. No, it won't. It's going to be less than inflation. But the interest on this account won't do anything for you at all. On the flip side, though, interest rates are also next to nothing. The cash rate, not the RBA's cash rate target, but the overnight cash rate, or BBSW, is sitting at around 0.04 or 0.05% right now. So near to zero, basically. The Reserve Bank's also driving long-term interest rates down too. So what does this all mean? Well, simply, it's pushed 3-year fixed-rate mortgages down to all-time lows. The lowest recorded so far is 1.89%, with a loan-to-value ratio of 80%. So borrowing, essentially, especially when the responsible lending laws are set to be relaxed early next year, has never been easier or cheaper. Is there hope for younger Australians? Of course, there's always hope. If you're in a relationship, have a secure full-time gig, ongoing role, and you're happy to be at least a little bit thrifty, there's no reason why you can't save up for a home in the longer run. See, here's the thing, guys. This is something that seems to be forgotten all the time. In the past, houses were bought by couples. And in the past, only one member of that relationship needed to work. That was just the way it did. Rachel's grandparents, he worked and, his wife worked as well. But he wanted to ensure that, he was the one supporting the family. So all of her earnings went to investment properties and other things. Worked out really well for them. So the whole fantasy of the wife sitting at home and never working, it wasn't all the time. But still, you only needed one person to work to earn enough money to buy a house. Well, now everyone works. Everyone's encouraged to work. That drives up the purchasing power of the family unit, which also has increased the price of property. That's how it is, guys. Less time at home. You spend more for a house, spend less time at home, never see the family. We've made some silly decisions in the past. So when you're looking at house prices, you shouldn't look at relative to individual wages or income. You need to look at relative to the family unit income in the past. That's the way to measure it. Then it doesn't look as insane as it was, as some of the figures look. So what's the solution? Get in a steady relationship, guys, and work together as a team like people have done throughout all of human history. You know, I know it's not as easy as it was in the past, and I know the MGTOW boys are going to start flooding the comments with some very legitimate concerns. But, you know, that's it. Find a good girl. They're out there for the lads. And, you know, ladies, find a good bloke. You know, get them shines of coffee in the morning. So once you've built up a deposit, borrowing should be relatively easy, and you could lock in a 3-year cheapest chips fixed loan rate. Beware, though, sell your new property, lose your job unexpectedly, or incur heavy, unforeseen living expenses within those 3 years, and you'll have to break the contract. There you go. I mean, yeah, that can happen. That's a risk. Or you could look at stashing away 3 years of payments as well, but I guess not everyone can do that in this situation. In this scenario, you'll be asked to stump up a break fee. Even the corporate cop ASIC warns this can hurt a lot. So borrowing at a cheap rate and locking it in is attractive in some ways and quite scary in others. For those in insecure work, as obvious as it sounds, the best you can hope for is to find more permanent work. Unless, of course, you like the freedom that comes with that sort of work. Exactly. So you want what I suggest, what I encourage is to have a diversity of income streams. That's the thing. This is one thing we're encouraging our children. The fantasy of having a permanent job and having a company take care of you, you can cast that aside. I don't even want even to share that fantasy with them. I want to encourage them to be entrepreneurs and look at different ways that they can create work, that they can be independent. What's wrong with that? I honestly think that's the future. We're competing in a global world. You have to compete with people all over the world, so you have to step up. That's it. And there are some, I know there are challenges because there are people that can work overseas a lot cheaper, but they don't have the same language skills, they don't have the same local knowledge, so there are advantages we can bring to the table. And you can work faster here too. That's the thing. But then again, my perspective is a job is a privilege, not a right. And I guess that clouds a lot of my bias there. So, it's all about what you want and what risks you're prepared to bear, your risk appetite. The difference between younger generations and older generations is that for older generations, a secure job and home was a given. Now it's quite an achievement. But life for some is more than just working to pay off a huge mortgage. Exactly. He's right here. 2020 has brought forward some big life choices our younger generation face. Let's hope, though, that they're able to make choices for themselves and aren't forced into taking a life path that they wouldn't otherwise choose. I mean, there's some very good points here that David has shared. But think about it. What is there's another movement that young people are doing, like van life. People are just living in vans and being like a gypsy around and traveling and experiencing life. Good on them. More power to them. It sounds very stressful, though, when you look at some of the videos going, it's not like the Instagram. Few things are like the Instagram or like what people portray. We'll have to see. So what do you all think, everyone? Do you think it's a sorry state that Gen Y and Z aren't going to have the same opportunities for permanent jobs and security as those of the past? Or is it just the way the world is changing and there's opportunities for them? Do you think job maker is the problem? Or do you understand that, well, $100 ain't that much? What do you think? As always, guys, please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from Teespring or HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.